In today's episode, we have our first guest. It's Lorenzo Grillo, and he's joining us from Liege, Belgium. So, Lorenzo, today I want to talk about your entrepreneurial experience in launching an app, which later became your startup. Also, about the hustle of starting up in Europe versus in the US, since both of us have experiences in both places. And I know it's hard, but we'll talk about that later. And I also wanna talk to you, the one listening to this podcast. I know you're interested in this topic, so don't leave, not just yet. And provide us feedback, because it's the only way we can improve. So drop a comment on either Spotify, Instagram. It's at Wifimilk, or you can just go to wifimilk.com and drop a comment there. It's up to you, but I really like to hear your voice. And yeah, I really hope you enjoy this episode. It is gonna be divided into episodes, since I didn't wanna make it too long. But yeah, enjoy this one.
Hi, my name is Lorenzo Grillo. It's pronounced Lorenzo Grillo in its original language. I'm born in Belgium from a Sicilian family, and I'm 24 years old. I'm born in the city of Liege, by the way. Liege in Belgium, the Walloon region, the French one. And I'm being interviewed by Roger because of my first startup, which I created when I was 19 with two friends. Actually, only one friend. And then this friend brought another friend that I didn't know, but we quickly became friends.
Well, thanks for that short introduction. I really appreciate it. So, well, let's start. Tell us, what was the app really about?
The thing that we did was a bit special. It was a social media on which there is no pictures, there is just anonymous people, and they have an avatar, and they can interact with one another. But yeah, no one knows the identity of anyone else. And you can, of course, like design your avatar, make it live, give him clothes and stuff like that. Yeah. And so we created that. That was the idea of my friend, and he brought me to the team to do it. I was mainly doing like I don't know, like the app development, but in the meaning of the logic of the ARM, like the end users aspect of it, I guess. So I was doing like the pre-design of the app, and then I had one friend that was an infographist, so designer, which did like all the designs of the avatars and of the app backgrounds and everything. And then my other friend was a programmer, so he created the app, but the main crazy thing that he created was a software that's pretty much within the app. I mean, it's just the app, but in the app you could create an avatar and adjust like everything. So you had like billions of possibilities. It was just like some gauges, and you could adjust like the size of the ear, the size of the face, the color of the hair and everything, which we never really realized, but it's actually unique. There isn't much things. There is actually almost nothing on the App Store where you can like create a full avatar like that, like in a video game. So I think that was pretty cool, but we never really noticed it at the moment that was actually a big thing. We just did it, and then was really, really cool. We're really happy we did it. I was helping him with the maths too, because I was studying physics at that time. And so when you do this kind of stuff, it's really a lot of mathematical formulas to see like what relates. Let's see the bones that they have here on the cheeks to like the hair lobes and everything. There's like all mathematics between the faces of people, and so yeah, there was like big formulas. It was pretty funny.
Wow, and did you actually post it on the App Store?
No, the thing is, we never finished it because the team broke up, which was kind of sad. Which makes me maybe want to talk about teams.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, teams are crucial in startups, and I feel like they're underrated. And I mean, it's really important to get the right team, the right people, and it's something that people don't think about when they start a startup. And it's very important. Yeah, go ahead.
The thing is, we had some kind of alchemy in the team, which is what fueled the whole thing. We were just like working really well together at some point. When it was still into the brainstorming area at the very beginning of things, we was mostly talking, for the programmer wasn't programming yet, the designer wasn't designing yet, we're just like creating the thing. We saw like a couple people in the industry. We saw like a lawyer once, to kind of know what we could do, what were the laws concerning social medias and everything. But the thing is, when once we had to produce some work, some real work that we had to progress in the app, then quickly the designer was the he was working slower than me and the programmer. Like we could put more amount of work in in the project than him. Not because he had less free time, but just because he had less resistance to working hard, you know?
Yeah.
And so that created some tension in the team, because, I mean, the programmer especially was especially crazy. He once coded for 56 hours in a row. He didn't sleep.
Wow.
He coded like
Wow.
56 hours in a row. I slept while he did that. Like I slept, at night, like normal. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, he was like really, really working hard. And he had a crazy resistance to working hard. So, and me, I was like working hard too. I didn't have as good as the resistance as the programmer, but I was doing a fair share of work. And the designer, yeah, that's why we had some tension with him. And we basically been like pressuring him a lot,
Yeah.
and trying to make him work faster, work harder, do more. And the more we're pressuring him, the less he was doing. So we kind of like broke the whole alchemy of the team by pressuring him and by not letting him work in his own way,
Yeah.
which made me found out you really cannot really change people. It's very hard to change people. It's a slow training. It's a slow process to if you want to change someone's. And um and the thing is, yeah, we I think we made big mistakes with that, especially me, because the programmer wasn't really the kind of guy who like, you know speak honestly and kind of like, you know, have a talk with other employees, colleagues, you know what I mean? And like, so it was mainly me that was telling him the things because that was my role, like I was the business part. So obviously I had to take care of that. And so, yeah, I
So
think I pressured him too much into to the point that like he wasn't willing to work in that team anymore because it was too much pressure for him. And so that's where it started like falling apart. So that
so
was a big mistake I made.
do you think that I mean it you guys didn't succeed. I mean you finished there,
Yeah, it
right?
failed. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think it's because of the team or not? And like how did you choose your team? Because I know a lot of people have this problem of choosing the right people because you gotta trust them.
Yeah.
And those like people who join you are also gotta be excited for the project. So how's the balance work?
Yeah. So at first, my friend called me because he's basically really an artist. He really just does design, and he knew that I was doing business and I'd sell him some really like small projects before. So he called me because he had like just no idea on how to do that, but he had this great idea of an app. So he called me, we talked, and like we're like, okay, cool, sounds good, let's do it. And then we did most of the work together with another friend who's a designer, but who is just not interested in making an app, but he loves drawing. He just loves drawing. So he made like a lot of drawing for us at the beginning for the name, like the design, the logo, and everything. But then he kind of left the team just naturally because he just wasn't interested in the whole startup thing of like programming and doing an app for real. He just wanted to draw. So once all the drawing was done, like he left, and then we called that other friend who was a programmer, pretty much because he was the only programmer we knew pretty much. And but then we met him, and we've been very clear. We said what were our ambitions. We said the amount of work we expect him to do. We said we expected to we expect the startup to be a priority for him, in his life,
Mhm.
and that it's serious and everything. And you could tell that like that was his mindset too. He was already sharing that mindset before meeting us, and I think that's important. I think that's where you make the difference. Is that you have a certain mindset, and then you basically want to hire someone or partner with someone. That person needs to have the same mindset regarding the project, what you want it to be, how much work you get to put in, how you're gonna work on it, pretty much. And like, I think that's important because you won't change someone's mindset. It's very hard, and yeah.
Mhm.
Therefore, like if you start working with someone with a different mindset, I think it's likely to not work. And then the designer friend who thought he had that mindset too, at the end, like it turned out that like he didn't. He wasn't really ready to work hard and everything.
Yeah.
So at the end, that's him that didn't fit the mindset of the programmer. And I at the end, what happened is like my good friend who was a designer became almost less good friend that the new guy I met was the programmer, just because we had really similar mindsets regarding work and everything. And the other one, I think the project went like too far for him. He just told me an idea, and then I took his idea and I was like, great, let's really do it. But then, like I think he didn't really imagine it going this far. He didn't really imagine what it was to create an app and
Yeah.
the amount of work it takes, and that it's not all like drawing on a paper, because these guys are like pure artists. They like draw and mainly on papers or painting and everything. But there, all his work was like very repetitive design of app modeling, of uh, avatars, but like, repetitive avatars just for the mockups and everything. So it was really different at what he likes to do. And then there was the whole business part of like I'm gonna tell you, but like I kind of found investment at some point, so like we had to to go faster and everything, and like
Wow.
that whole rush, he wasn't ready for it, and I think he didn't know that creating an app will be like that, and that's where he kind of like naturally like started working less and got detached of the project.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, just to add on that, that now people see, entrepreneurs like, I don't know, Mark Zuckerberg or like
Yeah,
Elon Musk, right? Like they're so successful and they want to be like them, but they, it's like the new celebrity type, right?
yeah, sure.
And people think it's easy, but it's not. It's not. And yeah, so I got another question. So we made some primary research that around 60% of high school and business college students want to start a business, but
Oh
at the
yeah.
end of the day, just 10% of them end up starting a business, and that includes all businesses, not just startups. So it's a small percentage, and so that's happening in Europe. We're not entrepreneurial, friendly environment. So what's locking us? Like, is it is it us? Is it the culture? Is it politics? Should politicians, work
In
towards?
Europe,
Yeah,
I think it's capital. I think that's where it lacks. Because think about it, like we have way better schools than, I mean, we don't have better schools as in the US, but university is very accessible in most countries of Europe. And if it's not accessible within your country or Europe, there is usually a lot of like programs that will let you study abroad for very affordable prices usually, and despite those affordable prices, there is still scholarships going on and like financial aid and everything. So it's definitely not the knowledge and the skills of the people. I think the people in Europe are very skilled, because just yeah, I think taking Belgium 800 a year and you learn everything. You can be a
yeah.
doctor, you can be an engineer, you do whatever. Germany 300, you know. France a bit more, I think 1,500, 2,000. But US 40K, right? Like
Yeah.
40K, 45K, 70K. So definitely we have the skills. It's not expensive to create a company, so it doesn't come from the lows. And
It's
that's
more
why, like with time, no, I really feel like it comes from the capital.
it's more expensive to do it here than the US as well, right?
I'm not sure about that because
No?
the thing is that I know about Belgium only. I don't know about the other countries of Europe, but here you get to bring the capital to start a business is it around 1,500 for
Hmm.
to have a company, but it's only 150, 150 if you do what's called a physical person. So you don't have an office and everything. It's
Yeah.
just you are a company yourself.
Hmm.
And then you can still start like a non-profit company, and then it's absolutely free. You don't need any capital, and you
Okay.
can do your operation and have a VAT number for free. And then you can convert that non-profit into a company when you're
Yeah.
ready and when you have some capital. So that's a big thing in Belgium that really facilitates the business, because you will also have no taxes with non-profit. So
Hmm.
I really think where I see a big difference between Europe and the US is really in the capital because I'm gonna explain to you like the guy I worked with, the programmer,
Hmm.
at the same time that he was doing that, he was working on a delivery business, similar
Okay.
to like DoorDash, Caviar,
Uber
you know, I
Eats.
don't know, like Uber Eats. Yeah, but he wasn't yet on the delivery part. His app was like ordering, you know. But then, of course, like, why not doing delivery? But it was some kind of like, for Europe, it's takeaway, I think, that people know. But yeah, it was like an app where you could order to skip the line and everything, you know.
Hmm.
So once he created the whole thing, so the product was finished, he raised 50,000 euros, okay? And that was for 50% of his company. I mean,
Wow.
49. So he raised 50K for 49% of his company. That's
Wow.
ridiculous. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. In the US, with the same app, and like if you're American, obviously, not if you're a foreigner, but if you're American, you got some a little contact, or not even, you know, but just you have an app, you have you're a good guy with a IT degree. It's not like some random guy.
Hmm.
I don't think you will raise only 50K. I think the average would be a million, $2 million, you know, for 10, 20% of your equity.
Yeah.
So obviously you can do way more things with that money. And that's how the American startups are so strong and so powerful. And that's how they get all the markets all of a sudden in like a year or two. It's the capital. It's the only difference with Europe. Like think about Uber, they raised more than 1 billion in fundings. A
Wow.
billion. That's how like in a few years they're present in like 150 countries or something, and they're the leader of the market. There was just almost no way to compete with them technologically speaking, you know. And they
Hmm.
still have some like technological venture for every time the next round of technology is going to be self-driving car or autonomous vehicle, whatever. And like it's just very hard for us to compete because with that capital you can do so much. You can just do
Yeah.
so much. You can buy the patents, you know, for example, that stops like anyone from like competing with you. You can do just so many. You can pay like the best engineer. You can straight up have a big team, you know, you can straight up make the cost to like create the offices in like all around the world and have big managers all around the world. You have a billion. Like, think about it. Uber, after what, like I think the round F of funding, I'm not sure, but you can verify, they had like a billion or so. $1 billion is like what most European companies dream of. And if they reach it after 200 years, I think they're happy, you know. But like there is so few $1 billion companies, and in the US you have startups that raise $1 billion. Like obviously that helps, you know. And I think that's why the Silicon Valley is working so well. That's why startups in Israel are doing already better than like the ones in Europe, because they have a lot of capital too. And that's why the same, I believe, in China, companies there raise quite big amounts compared to here.
And I China is the future. China is killing it. Yeah.
We'll see, because like the US won't let them be the future that easily. But I think it's the capital. I think that's what we're lacking in Europe, and I'm not sure why. There is rich people too here. I'm not sure why. I feel like there's less the spirit of money making and entrepreneurship here, you know, which I think makes people scared of putting money in some startup and everything, you know.
Yeah, we're more conservative.
I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, the answer is the capital to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and one last question. Damn, wait. You want to go too fast. To listen to the second part of this episode, you'll have to wait until next week. So I'll see you then. And I hope you enjoyed this first part. I really enjoyed talking to Lorenzo, and I learned from what he said. I hope you did too. And yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Thanks. And one last thing, thank you so much for the support these 3 weeks. It's been amazing so far starting this podcast. And yeah, I mean, thank you so much for the support. I'm doing it for you. I'm enjoying doing it as well. And yeah, don't forget to check out the articles that I post on wifimilk.com/blog. They are stories about, entrepreneurship and marketing. And also some of them are the written part of the podcast that I post here. So thank you so much. Peace. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a message from Wifimilk.com. So make sure to check out our website. It's Wifimilk.com. Again, Wifimilk.com. And follow the podcast. Enjoy.